When it comes to Strange New Worlds, this was a massive surprise for me because I'd been burned by previous Star Trek seasons of TV that is new. I enjoyed some of what they had to show, but for me, it didn't quite hit the mark of what Star Trek should be. When I saw this, I was late to the game. I watched it, I think, in a couple of days. I was just blown away by how much it felt like Star Trek. How much it felt like I was watching just a continuation of that world, the Picard, the Kirk world. I just felt so at home watching it. So I breathed a sigh of relief, felt comfortable watching the story unfold. And then they left us on a sort of cliffhanger of what was going to happen to one of our main characters, Rebecca Romijn, who plays Una Chin Riley. There was a story there that was unfolding that they kind of left off, and that's where we kind of pick up on season 2. And I have to say that I wasn't expecting it to be vastly different. I didn't want it to be vastly different. I just wanted to do the same thing, because what it did in the first season was excellent. And I can say that it does the same thing. I've seen the first 6 episodes of season 2, and I'm just breathing a sigh of relief again. But that's mostly because they filmed it almost back to back. Didn't know whether they were going to be picked up again, but they were continuing to film the storyline. And so we have this tempo and feeling that is basically, you get episodic storylines, but season 2 feels like it's giving, well, for what I can see, it feels like it's giving time to the characters a lot more. They have world building to do, but more world building with individual character arcs, which I really like. So Strange New Worlds is a prequel to the Star Trek original series that follows the crew of the USS Enterprise under Captain Christopher Pike. It's very hard to do a review on Star Trek without doing any spoilers, but I'm going to do my utmost so you can go in afresh. Suffice to say, there are tried and tested formulas or story arcs that each episode does that will put you at home. It's that feeling again, you're just breathing a sigh of relief going, they've really found out what makes Star Trek Star Trek. Part of those storylines, it comes down to the Spock and plays Jess Bush, Nurse Crystal Chapel. Their relationship, Spock with his fiancée, that is an ongoing thread and arc throughout a number of episodes, and I think it plays well because it plays with the character who plays Spock, the actor who plays Spock, plays him in a way that you really get to see both sides of the human and the Vulcan. And we've had that in iterations before, but I just feel like they really hit the nail on the head. The emotions that he's trying to control, but also the worlds he comes from keep clashing. And that works well. And then we have Christopher Pike, obviously, still the captain, and what we see him deal with trying to keep his crew together. For what we've seen in these 6 episodes is not really about him. It's more about his crew. We get a lot of storyline of other crew members. There's little bits of understanding who these characters are, and I appreciate it, because when things start going wrong, they start going wrong from episode 1. We have those lawyer episodes in a court case that is, some people often like their eyeballs rolled in the back of their head and they go, no, not one of those. But actually, when we get the storyline in this one, it works well in the sense of building up a character background story, so that when that character again is part of the crew, you really appreciate their background. And that is a clever way of knitting our crew together. So like I mentioned, when things start to go wrong, and they do, because there is a thread of an overall threat, like there always is in good writing. So you have your individual episode arc storylines that are completed for the most part on each episode, but then there's always that arc that's threading itself through if it's well written. And you do get that sense here. I'm definitely going to be watching the rest of these, but I think for the most part, I'm loving the combinations of story arcs that we get. Like Melissa Navia, who plays Erica Ortegas. There's an episode where our crew are having memory issues. The way we see the expertise of our crew overcome this issue is excellent. Really thoughtful, and the way they do it just makes it invigorating and really exciting to watch. I shouldn't have been surprised, but I was surprised about the emotional bumps that this series has, especially season 2. There are moments where the storyline of the day, the episodic arc of the day, really gets you in the gut. And that's when you can tell the story is written really well. If they're able to tell a poignant story, so often the good Star Trek that you remember are able to take topical topics that are still relevant today, talk about them in a way that is sci-fi, but it reflects back at you what you're experiencing in the real world. And it does that without being preachy. That is the eclectic, special way of writing that is good, entertaining, but also poignant. And there are emotional bumps within that, which makes it so much more real. I remember thinking myself that Orville Season 3 had a lot of that. Often is the best Trek that we've seen that's not Trek, until we started with Strange New Worlds. And you, again, that sigh of relief is just being comfortable with finding a Star Trek series that is excellent. I love Picard Season 3, but the first two I wasn't overly fond of. I know people different in their views when it comes to Trek, but for me, Strange New Worlds is really knocking it out of the park. I can't give it a full season review yet. Suffice to say, it's the same as Season 1, but it also spends time on the character world building, so that I imagine the last 4 episodes of Season 2 is going to be that thread of the big arc that they're all, again, kind of weave in. But really, it is the strange new worlds that they visit in amongst the characters that are developing, those relationships that are developing, that you really care about now. So I think this is, again, just top-notch Trek. Let me know your thoughts and feelings down below. Are you excited to watch this? Thanks so much for watching me talk about one of my favorite things to watch on TV, which is sci-fi and especially Trek. Thanks so much. But most of all, until next time, remember, live long on Tuesday.